Thanks for joining us today on Indivisible. I'm your host, John Stubbins. America, we're thrilled to have you. We're streaming live today on pill.net, freedomfirstnetwork.com, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. I want to ask the question today, and it's really disturbing, but I want to find out from people, who lied to you? Who are you hearing that lied to you or to people that you know about President Trump and his supporters being fascist and racist? Was that CNN? Was that MSNBC? Was that the New York Times? Was that the Washington Post? Was it your neighbor, your best friend? Who was it? We need to find out, because this is absurd, and the mainstream media, what we call fake news now, they seem to be ill-equipped to report the truth, and they've been lying and creating this narrative, which is so destructive, and the lies are so destructive that what they've done is they've divided our nation, and they've done it in a way that is violent and uncivil and unkind and ungodly, and it is very disturbing. And it's disturbing because it is a lie. I want to bring on my first guest today, my brother John Schneider, coming in. John, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. And by the way, I can hear you fine now.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
So excellent.
It was only during the test period. John, I think the answer to who lied is all of the above. They have. There's been a narrative out there because they're living in fear. And the number one thing I see with Nancy Pelosi, with Schumer, I don't see power, and I don't see we're trying to fix the country. We're trying to save democracy. What I see is they are scared to death that they will lose before the 20th because they know that they are going to jail.
Yeah.
They are in the I think Mel Brooks said it, they're living in fear that they're going to lose their cinchy jobs.
Yes.
And that's what I see. And folks, if you're wondering who the hell this is, I'm the guy from Dukes of Hazzard and Smallville and Nip Tuck and the Haves and Have-Nots and Stand On It and all kinds of, and music and all that, which, used to be important, but not now. What's important now is our country.
Yes.
And John, I do believe that our Constitution and our people are both strong and smart enough to get through this unscathed. I don't know how. You and I talk off the air quite a bit. I don't know how. And a third thing, I believe that President Donald J. Trump and President-elect Donald J. Trump and the guy who was running and the guy who said he was going to run and the guy who said he was never going to run is the smartest man in any room he's in.
Yes. Yeah.
So a big part of me, I don't know about you folks watching, but a big part of me honestly, truly believes that they have continued up until 45 minutes ago. They have continued to play right into his hand.
I agree with you, brother. By the way, where are you at right now? Are you down in Louisiana?
We're in Louisiana. I just came back from a 2-day duck hunt. I've never been duck hunting. I had a blast. Pun intended. And then on December 31st, right here at John Schneider Studios, we had our first annual Second Amendment party. And at high noon, we all took a shot at a cardboard box, with every conceivable weapon, to send 2020 out with a bang. Nice. And to welcome 2021 in with a bang, and to remind us all of our Second Amendment right.
Yeah, and folks, just so you know, if you don't know who John is an amazing American who's done so much for this country, so much for his community, and I'm sure that you recognize him. And by the way, Stand On It. I definitely want to talk about Stand On It, because Stand On It is out. And I was fortunate enough to be down at John's birthday party with him and Alicia for 3 days this summer, or excuse me,
while we were filming. While you were filming,
and you'll notice at the bottom of the screen, I've got JohnSchneiderStudio.com and also Cineflex, the websites for Stand On It, so that you can order a copy of the film. And the reason I'm really promoting this and doing it hard is because we're sick of Hollywood. We're sick of the games.
Oh my God.
We're sick of the nonsense. And we want to promote independent filmmakers like John, who we love. He's a brother. He's part of our community. And we want you guys out there supporting these kinds of films, because these are family. These are faith-based. These are home. These are
John, Stand On It. Remember, Stand On It is a tribute to Smokey and the Bandit.
Yes.
So it has all the language. Here's spoiler alert. It has all the language that Smokey and the Bandit had. So if you want to sit down and watch a John Schneider movie with your family, get Christmas Cards.
Yeah.
Christmas Cards is the one. Collier and Company, get that. Okay.
Yeah.
But Stand On It. In 1977, Smokey and the Bandit was rated PG. Personally, I think it should have been rated R because of the language. So take that for whatever it's worth. But yeah, Hollywood was so sure, and continues as we're talking, to be so sure, not that they won and more people voted for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris than anyone before. That's not what they're sure of. What they're sure of is that they got away with it. Yeah. There's a difference. There's a difference when this is the way that I can explain it to my friends the easiest is that if you put something from a store in your pocket and you're still in the store, you have not shoplifted yet. You haven't done anything against the law. If you go through the checkout and get to and haven't claimed that you have something in your pocket yet, it's still conceivable that you forgot. Right. It's probably still conceivable that you forgot when you're 2 steps the other side of the door.
Sure.
But when you get to your car, and you've got 6 watches in one side and you've got some perfume in the other side, or a DVD behind your belt, you stole. So just because you got to your car, even just because you got home and nobody caught you, does not mean you did not steal.
That's right.
It means you got away with it.
That's right.
I personally believe with all of my heart and soul that the store detective, and in this case, that's Rudy Giuliani, is about to knock on the window right after Pelosi and Schumer and all the turncoat Republicans have gotten in the car and they're just about to turn their key. Well, guess what? Step out of the car, please.
Yeah.
That's what I think. And I don't think it's just wishful thinking.
No.
Because when you go back and you watch the things that they said about Trump in 2016, you keep watching these things, they were just as sure that he didn't stand a snowball's chance in hell.
Yeah.
That Hillary Clinton was going to win by a landslide. Right. They were just as arrogant and just as sure of themselves then.
They've spent
the one thing we all agree on, I think Republicans and Democrats, conservatives and liberals, left, right, middle, the one thing we agree on is that there is no way that Joe Biden can run the country.
Right.
He couldn't run a cafeteria.
Right.
And we know it.
Right. And John, let me say this. They spent the last 4 years every single day attacking you, attacking me, attacking President Trump, all of his advisors. They never, Hillary said right out of the gate that he's not my president. He didn't win this election. You heard time after time, person after person that's a Democrat that came out and said he's an illegitimate president. Joe Biden said it. Obama said it.
Right, but remember, Hillary conceded. President Trump has not conceded.
Right.
He said there was going to be a peaceful transfer of power, or peaceful change. I
Right.
forget exactly how he said it.
Yeah.
But I think that means as we usher in a new vice president who isn't a turncoat, as we usher in a new vice president who doesn't talk out of both sides of his face, that is going to be a peaceful transfer. At no time did he use the C word, nor will he.
No. And here's the thing. Hillary did concede, but then right after she conceded, she said on every talk show imaginable that President Trump didn't win the election, that he's an illegitimate president. So
she was just wham, 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 wham.
Her concession meant nothing. It meant nothing.
Well, except she did use the word.
I know.
In a court of law, right? In a court of law.
I got it.
And hey, folks, you have to know why that's so important, folks who are watching.
Yes.
The words you use are very important.
They matter. They matter.
And Trump, and what they've done for 4 years with Donald Trump is they have chosen what the media has done is they've chosen only to play you the words that will fit their narrative.
That's right. And here's the thing. They spent 4 years telling their supporters that Trump and his supporters were racist and fascist. And so they set this divide up and made this hatred, this cesspool of hatred that now exists, and it's now over the top.
Well, and now they're claiming that it's us that are responsible for the division in our country.
Right.
There's nobody that really believes that that's true.
That's right.
I remember one of the first interviews I heard from a woman who was a Trump supporter at the Capitol on the 6th. Is she said, I was at the Capitol, and the next thing I knew, and this is a soccer mom when we used to have a thing called soccer. And she said, I was at the bottom of the steps, and next thing I knew, I was at the top of the steps. She said, I was kind of, she's not saying she didn't walk up the steps herself, but there is a mentality.
Sure.
That, the people who were killed at the Who concert in the 70s or 80s were the people who didn't go with the crowd. Right. So we know there was a plan there. We've seen the video with police officers, which I don't know why in the world police officers would want to open the doors of the Capitol to help support the people who want to defund them.
Right.
But I've seen the video.
Yeah, I know. Look, and folks, I want to bring on to the show Maria Zach. Maria, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Welcome to the show, Maria. I've got John Schneider with us here. I want to get right into this because we're hearing stories about blackouts over in Pakistan, over in Italy. There's reports coming out that are unverified. Maria has been doing the investigation, and she's the one that's her investigation is running parallel to my investigation with my federal witness. And it's interesting because Maria picks up the money trail once it leaves the United States and goes overseas. Maria, please tell our audience about the affidavit that you have and what it means.
Thank you, John. Basically, from our research, we were able to discover that the actual theft of the United States election occurred in Italy on the second floor of Via Veneto of the U.S. Embassy in Rome by a U.S. employee, Foreign Service official, whose name is Stefan Serafini. What is problematic is that they actually retired intentionally 2 days prior to make sure he didn't lose his pension. So I want everyone to remember that as a taxpayer. Secondly, he was meeting with General Graziano across the street from the embassy. It was in the St. Regis. They were coordinating with a company called Leonardo SPA. And how do I know this? Should be the question everyone asks. And how do you have proof? Fair question. The guy who did it told the truth. The guy who pushed the button, worked in the satellite office, actually did it. So what we have happening is that they quickly, when we first released the first piece of evidence and did it in a newspaper article, they said, hey, look what's happening over here with Leonardo. We've got a huge problem. and they may have conspired on the U.S. election, and immediately the Italian government fired the heads of IT and cybersecurity, and Leonardo fired their heads. And then you have the people who are very, very challenged in how they are how they are putting things out. So they had to figure out, okay, as Leonardo, we don't want the truth out. We got to cover up where you're a publicly traded company, 11th largest industrial defense company. So what do? They go and have the guy arrested for hacking from years ago. So he's been in arrest. It's shocking, John.
Let me ask you a quick question. John, do you have any questions for Maria?
Well, no, I watched the video link you sent me the other day, and I believe it completely. If there's one thing that corrupt folks don't want to hear and perhaps don't even recognize, it's the truth. So when someone comes out, and my understanding, Maria, was this gentleman came out because he was just feeling, this was wrong, and I need to tell somebody about it.
Yeah.
And there is such thing, and I know this is hard for the left to believe, but there is such thing as a conscience.
Yeah, he had one.
And it sounds to me like that's what we're in the throes of there. And has anyone, Maria, has anyone of stature on this end listened to it? Is it a threat to anyone yet, or are they just kind of pushing it away as so much propaganda?
It's high stakes now. It's unfortunately, we have people being hunted in Italy. We have 4 people missing, including the judge who oversaw the trial. He had the original affidavit and deposition from Arturo Delio, who committed the act and didn't know at work, he was going to be asked to do something like that. And so we have people on the run, and we need help. We need assets. We transferred over to the United States to testify. And the Senate and House received copies of the affidavit. We actually had 2 affidavits going in, which a lot of people do not know. One was by the premier constitutional attorney in Italy. So many people said, well, how do we know it's him? We're all searching for him. We can't find him. Well, we just released a video with him as a proof of life that he is alive, and he did this of his own free will, and he did observe, and he knows for a fact that these facts are true. Secondly, we have someone from the intel community who did an affidavit because he did the investigation and was there when the guy confessed. So think about the number 2 to the AG of your country and of your intelligence services comes out and says, I interviewed him, he did it. He said he did it. He told us how he did it. He showed us documentation, and he showed us the software key.
Let me ask you a quick question, Maria. Have we gotten any confirmation? I've seen photos that Pompeo and Secret Service personnel were over in Italy arresting this man. Have we gotten any confirmation that he's been brought back to the United States?
I have actually asked for them to conduct several raids and investigations into the certain personnel that I am very aware of their involvement. Unfortunately, we have not heard specifically what those have yielded. It's obviously been covert, and I'm sure those guys are on the run. And I certainly don't want to give anyone a heads up that we're coming for you, but we are. We've had God with us every step of the way. They can't hide. No.
John, look, you see what we're dealing with here, and this investigation that Maria has, it runs directly parallel with my federal witness. And my federal witness, he has probably 4/5 of this pie. And this goes back to the Obama Oval Office. So this money, it ran through Obama's Oval Office down to the local level in over 612 counties in the United States. And we're talking about over $25 trillion that was stolen from the American taxpayer. $25
trillion.
Yeah.
Well, it's a very sad thing. I live in Louisiana. You know where I live.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say that people who live in Chicago and New York and Los Angeles and San Francisco don't work, because obviously they work. But the thing that I find in common with the people that I hang out with mostly, or the people I have the opportunity to meet, is that, like me, they would rather work for $5 than be given $6.
Yeah.
So the notion that there are people who are, and many people in very high government and political arenas and areas and corporate, who are willing to trade our country for a lot of fast bucks, it just disgusts me. It disgusts me.
Me too.
And if there's one person that understands the whole mentality of them, who actually has dealt with, dare I say, China one-on-one, it's President Trump.
Yep.
So if there's one person they should be looking to, yes, he's from New York. We're all kind of brash who are from New York.
Yeah.
And we enjoy it.
That's right.
You know,
hey, John, you lived there. You grew up there.
I was born there.
I went to school there. I understand the brashness. Okay.
Well, I tell you, you know who President Trump sounds like to me is Mark Twain. You know, folks who relish sarcasm.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because I love the one where he said, "No, it's not the fake news anymore. I have a new name. The really fake news."
Right.
I think that's hysterical. But back to the other. It's very, very. It's sad that this is happening, but there's only one person who has been on both sides. I guess he's been on both sides of the aisle, but he's been on both sides of the deal, both sides of the water, both sides of the wall, both sides of the law. That's why he's so far ahead of them. Mm-hmm. So they should be asking him advice.
Yeah.
They should be looking at our economy 2 years ago or a year ago.
That's
and
right.
Saying, my God, I don't like the way Donald Trump speaks, but his actions are yielding wonderful results.
That's right. That's right. I look.
So again, back to the initial thing. There's fear.
There's
not
fear.
Patriotism. There's not even greed.
That's right.
There's fear.
That's right.
Fear is an entirely different emotion, and that's what they are living in right now, and they should be, because this ain't nearly over.
No. And Maria, I know that you're going to want to dig into some of this. I'm going to hold you over for the next segment, but I want to say goodbye to John. John, thank you, brother.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Maria's information, once this all turns, thank God for Maria's information, because that information is what's going to put people behind bars who need to be behind bars.
Well, her information combined with my witnesses' information.
Yes, and your information.
I'm going to tell you right now, we have enough information right now that over 260,000 sealed indictments, and there's a lot of people that are going to be going to prison. Excuse me, not even prison, probably Gitmo.
Wow. Well, thank God for all that.
God bless you, brother.
Thanks for being patriots. Thanks for keeping the faith. Thanks for keeping me among your group. And I look forward to the unfolding drama that we're all living in.
Stay tuned, brother.
Yep.
Give my love,
Maria. Wonderful to meet you.
Give my love to Alicia.
I certainly will. Happy New Year to us all.
God bless you, brother.
God bless you back. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, Maria. Look, I want you to start to unfold some of this. And I know that you wanted to get into this about, the ramifications and what we want to do. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I think it's really important to let America know what happened in the theft of their election, and that it's more than just the theft and the largest theft in America's history. It's actually a coup d'etat. And in college, I learned as a political scientist all about what coups are. And currently we hear the media talk about coups. Well, the word coup is not, somebody fighting with someone in Congress. It's the actual infiltration of government taking down and toppling the leadership that was duly elected. And that coup has been happening for some time in America, and people didn't recognize it for what it was.
No.
And they certainly didn't know what you knew. And I have subsequently learned how our information connects. And that is quite disturbing. Our organization, Nations in Action, is devoted to transparency, good government, accountability of the money, because the numbers just don't add up. As a graduate student, they teach implicit costs, explicit costs, opportunity costs. Well, these enemies of the state are about to have a harsh lesson in costs and the real economics. And to think that the president and former president had involvement of transferring 14 pallets of hard-earned families' money from a broken, very corrupt Iran deal, and let's empower the people who want to kill us, and then took some of that money to orchestrate the entire event of tearing down the Italian government. They actually used the same voting machines in 2018 to put in the pro-China party. And a lot of people don't know this. And that was their test run to then use it for the American election. And the last state dinner was with Renzi in the Obama White House to prepare all of this. Renzi returns back to Italy and takes Obama's campaign manager. And so you have this trail that was so evident as people came to me with the evidence. It was just shocking and all fit together. So, John, I think what people need to understand is, the question was asked, is this just, a few rogue government employees? No, it is not. It is the United States State Department, our embassy in Rome, the CIA, and many people who moved the money. So you have to know Treasury was involved for Obama. And one other point, Joe Biden has been calling into Italy post-election. And one thing that everyone should be asking Joe Biden is, what'd you do about Sigonelli, our base in Sigonelli? And is it true that you're signing away the rights to our base before you were even president?
That's
I want
right.
everyone to think about that significance and what they're doing to help China. Their agenda is very different than America. We're God-fearing, loving people who want families to succeed. And unfortunately, they thought it was okay to use government assets, government funds, government employees on government time with pensions to go destroy our country. And now that we have the proof, we need to show how the other governments intertwine, including why was MI6 involved, Cambridge Analytica's Alexander Nix. We know for a fact he met with the president of Leonardo. So there is no excuse. We have way too much information. They can't hide from it. They can't run for it. And we're coming for them. And America will not stand for this.
That's right. That's right. And Maria, look, we know what they're up to. We know what they've done. We have the evidence. They don't realize what evidence we have. They think that all we're doing is focusing on just the election. Look, there are a lot of people that are doing that, and that is important. I don't want to say that it's not. It is. It's huge. But all this other corruption and the stolen money and where they're giving the money and who they're giving it to, the level of corruption and the ability for China or, it doesn't matter who it is. These shady deals have to stop, and people have to be held accountable. We've had enough. Maria, is there anything you want to say in closing?
I think it's real important, John, that America know and Italy know it's your government. So go after your elected officials. Everyone in Italy, and my family comes from Italy, and so I'm very disturbed that people have not been heard. And so I want everyone to call your elected officials, your state legislators, as well as your federal government affairs or government officials. So your Senate and your House members. I want them to tell them the truth about Italy. Italy did it. period.
Yes.
And they need to get a commitment that they will conduct a full investigation immediately at all levels of government, because everyone is complicit otherwise, period. If you do not investigate it, you are part of the problem, part of the swamp. If you don't know if you're swamped, we'll let you know. So come call us.
That's right.
We will not tolerate this. Investigations must happen. And oh, by the way, USA Today, you didn't call me. Looking forward to hearing from you next time you print that. How about a retraction that you even reached out to me? Because I have people from across America calling me, and they don't seem to have a problem getting a hold of me or my press people. So if the media keeps lying, your credibility is already shot with America. So you've only made the problem worse. I think it's important that everybody call their media, start talking to your local newspapers, have one-on-ones with families, because families do not want their money spent on corruption. And we have a plethora of it in government.
No, and by the way, Maria, I want to let everybody know to go to Maria's website, nationsinaction.org. It's running at the bottom of the screen. And just so you know, Maria, you listened to my opening monologue, I'm sure. So we're going to dive back into wholeheartedly for the rest of the show. We're going to be talking about the media, because the media is look, I don't want to break this down into percentages necessarily, but the media is fully complicit in this division in our country, and they are complicit in these crimes because of how they've handled every single step of the way, even since before President Trump was inaugurated. They did this. They are complicit, and we are going to hold them accountable as well. Thanks for joining us today, Maria.
You bet, John. Great work. Thanks for what you're doing.
God bless you, my friend. We'll be talking to you soon.
You too.
I want to bring on the show now my friend Trevor Loudon. How you doing, brother?
Good, John. How are you?
Wonderful. Look, Trevor, we opened the show today. I had John Schneider on earlier before Maria. And, we started getting into this question about, my question for the show today is, and this is for America, who lied to you? And what I mean by that is, who told you that President Trump was a fascist? Who told you that President Trump and his supporters were racists and fascists? Who told you this? I want to know, because, look, we know that CNN, we know that MSNBC and the New York Times and the Washington Post, they're all out there amongst other organizations telling people that Trump, his supporters, anybody who's affiliated with him is a racist and a fascist and a white supremacist, and go hurt them. You saw what Maxine Waters did. You saw Hillary Clinton, Obama, Biden, Michelle Obama. They're all out there encouraging Antifa, BLM, bailing them out of jail, asking them to commit violence, and yet they sweep that under the rug.
Well, ultimately, what we're in right now is a communist takeover. And these messages that Trump is a racist, that American white people are racists and fascists and Christians are racists, all comes basically out of the communist movement, from China to the American Communist parties, from China to the American media and Hollywood. The center of this is China. So the message is, this is like what Hitler did with the Jews. You personalize a group, Christian conservatives, especially white Christians conservatives. You hang the racist label on them, the toxic masculinity label, the fascist label, and these people are there after scum. And of course, there are no protections for scum. They can be anything you like. Now, I call it the Hogan's Hero Syndrome. Remember that famous show back in the 60s where these Americans and British and French prisoners of war were in a German prison camp. And they spent all of their time lying to the Nazis, cheating the Nazis, assassinating the Nazis, or whatever. And we cheered them on because Nazis are horrible people. Well, now they've called half of America Nazis. So to lie to those Nazis, cheat, attack them, assault them, deplatform them, isn't just permissible, it is the moral thing to do.
Yes.
So this is a major assault on the one group of Americans that is still willing to stand up for the country and the Constitution and everything that makes this country great. Demonize those people, marginalize them, you destroy America as we know it.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right, brother. And for everybody out there, Trevor and I did a very important show back in the spring when Antifa and BLM first started on this, and we broke these groups down to the CCP, to the back to the Acorn movement, to the Black Liberation Army, the Liberation Front movements, the Weather Underground. We literally broke all this down, and you can go back and watch that show, which went viral. And we've been on this story for a long time, Trevor, as you know. And look, we need to get this message out to more Americans so that they understand. But the main thing here is that the media has been completely complicit in this division. They have made it so that Americans not only hate each other now, but they're condoning certain violence and not condoning other violence. And, as you know, and I know, these are tricks of the left.
Yeah.
These are Saul Alinsky tactics.
Yeah, this is Lenin. It goes right back to Lenin, and it's you have to demonize. Lenin talked extensively about this. How you have to demonize your enemy, divide your enemy, demonize them, marginalize them, so they're no longer a force. Well, the one force that the left fears is an energized MAGA movement. A new group, a new movement springing out of the ashes of the old, independent of the GOP. Because I think the GOP is pretty much finished now, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
I don't think that the MAGA movement is not going to follow Mitch McConnell or Kevin McCarthy or any of these people who voted to certify the election results. So if anything comes forward, it's going to probably have to be independent of the GOP. And that's what the left fears. Because they know that could sweep the nation. They know that could win electoral seats. They know that could, stop their plans. So they have to destroy that, nip it in its bud. That's why they did the big scam in Washington the other day, where the bad guys led naive MAGA people into a building. They never should have gone in, but they did.
Yep.
Then they committed a whole bunch of horrible acts, and guess who got the blame for it?
Yep.
And this is being now used to shut us down, take us off Parler, take us off Twitter, whatever. And it's all 100% scam. The only people doing anything violent in that building were agent provocateurs, Antifa types, possibly some of the National Bolshevik types as well.
Yeah, and
National Bolsheviks.
And let me just say this: we know that several black SUVs were bussed in by Soros. Okay, and we know that they were a part of that mix. On top of that, we also know that there was a military operation going on at that moment, because we know that Nancy Pelosi and others had their laptops confiscated. I believe that there was a military operation that took place during that Capitol push. And I think that some of those people blended in so that they could get information, and they got out of there quickly.
Well, I don't know. I know certain laptops were stolen. I don't know who by. I don't know whether it was by good guys or bad guys or whatever, or a mixture.
Yeah, we don't know for sure.
You know, we don't. We know this happened, but we do know 100% that there were provocateurs who led people into that building, who smashed windows, assaulted cops, and egged other people on. There would have been no violence without the provocateurs. People wouldn't have even gone into the building. So they were led into the building with no resistance by the police until it got right to the point where a cop fired a gun to, killed a woman.
Right.
But it's like the Charlottesville disaster a couple of years ago. In Charlottesville, you had pro-Russian, white supremacist Nazis fighting on the street against pro-Russian communists. Both sides were pro-Russian. And who got the blame for it? Trump, the Republicans, and the Tea Party. But
That's
it was Russians who did it. It was a Russian provocation. And this is the similar pattern we're seeing. People like the Boogaloo Boys and the Richard Spencers and the David Dukes. These are all pro-Russian agitators.
That's right.
And Russia wants to divide this country. They're working with China to divide this country.
That's right, brother. Listen, I want to thank you for coming on to give your insight, your analysis. As you know, I respect your opinion, and you're my brother, and I just really thank you for coming on, brother. Everybody,
Pleasure, John.
And by the way, everybody go to trevorloudon.com. Trevor has two really amazing documentaries that are out right now. One of them is on the church, and I highly recommend that you watch that. What's the name of that again, Trevor?
Well, it's Enemies Within the Church. We have trailers and short. We don't have the full feature-length movie out yet. That's coming out about March. But we do have Enemies Within, which is about the communist and Islamist infiltration of the Congress.
Yes.
And gives Joe Biden's communist background. He is a communist, people.
Yeah.
He's not an old-fashioned Democrat.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
Even worse.
By the way, I watched the Enemies Within the Church, and I can highly recommend to everyone in the audience to watch Enemies Within, which is Trevor's series, and it's just fantastic and very strong information. Thanks for coming on today, brother.
Oh, it's a pleasure, sir. Thank you very much.
God bless you. We'll see you soon. Everybody, I want to bring on to the show now Chris Bish. Chris is a congressional candidate who was running up in Sacramento, and she's got a lot going on with the with legal cases.
Yes.
In fact, she just joined on to another legal case with another friend of mine, Mr. Bradley. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Happy to have you. Happy to have you. Look, I want you to tell the audience a little bit about what's happening, what you're seeing up there. Give them an update on what is going on with dear Mrs. Matsui.
Well, we've got Mrs. Matsui on the run up here. For people who have followed me, I have a congressional race up here in Sacramento against Doris Matsui. Little background about Doris Matsui for viewers who are not familiar with her. She was the ringleader for the Chinagate money laundering for the Clintons. She is the lady that was responsible for all of the China connections and the dirty money laundering. And then when the Clintons went out of office, she continued to raise money as a congressional candidate. We have evidence that she was still collecting money as a candidate. And anytime she got caught taking in campaign donations that she should not have had, she simply gives them back and comes up with excuses. She is definitely a power player. She does have ties to China, and we can take those all the way back to the Clinton White House. Now, I have two lawsuits here in Sacramento. against Doris, one in Sacramento County and one in Yolo County.
Okay.
And I am challenging her that she wasn't supposed to be on the ballot.
Yeah.
Now, we have one response from her in Sacramento County where her attorneys have confirmed that she is a resident of Maryland.
That's right.
And Sacramento voters have been duped since 1979 with the Matsui family. That's how long they've been in control of a congressional seat in the Sacramento area. And we've provided evidence that they have not only been residents of Maryland, 3,000 miles away, but we have some more breaking information coming out. We've got to get some updates filed in the court case and we should have those by the end of the week with you. More information about her and about that stolen seat. And of course, I've been added to the other lawsuit with Mr. Bradley, with James Bradley. Yes, that just came about this weekend. And I can share with you that a lot of the research and data that is in that lawsuit has to do with investigations that I've been doing here in Sacramento. And we're going to add a lot more to it. I spent 10 years as an investigator here. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, let me ask you a quick question, Chris. Do we have any advancement on the case with the toxic water at the military base?
No, it's completely been sidelined here.
Okay.
We've got so many things going on.
I know. I know you do.
It's constantly breaking. We have a couple more lawsuits that'll be coming up. We'll go into detail on those once those get filed. We don't want to give anybody a heads up.
It's almost as if Matsui is throwing stuff at the wall to keep you on the run and keep you distracted, to keep dealing and with all these different lawsuits. It's almost as if she's trying to, make you go run errands so that she can distract.
I don't get distracted, and I'm pretty good at multitasking.
I know you do. You're a pit bull, girl.
I'm gonna say I'm more like an ex-girlfriend. I don't stop.
Good for you. Good for you.
I do know that what we can say is Matsui was one of the first people to issue a demand that Trump be impeached. That's a distraction. That is a distraction. Do not let this impeachment claim and all of that go on. They have other things that they are doing. President Trump is going to do what President Trump is going to do. We have other things in play, them shutting down media. We've seen power grids go off in other parts of the world. So there's a lot going on. So my message to patriots is, you know what? President Trump knows what he's doing. Let him do what he's doing. Right. We need you to focus locally on what's going on in your districts, in your community. The powers that be under Nancy Pelosi, they are in a panic. So I'm going to tell people, do not react. Okay, that's what they're looking for. They are causing panic. And what I've been advising people, it's like catching fire. Well, we all learn that if your sleeve catches on fire, don't run, don't panic. Stop, drop, and roll. And I'm going to advise people, while all of this is going on, it's a distraction. Stop, listen, stop reacting. Yeah, you're making it worse.
Yeah, and by the way, you missed the opening part of the show. We had we had John Schneider, and then we had Maria Zach, and then we had Trevor Loudon, my brother Trevor. Look, we have an investigation that's going on here that's running parallel that takes us from the Obama Oval Office to Italy, okay, over to Germany, and we've got them. They're done. Okay, so look. Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer can say whatever they want to say, but all they're doing is hurting their own constituents because they're lying to them. Chris, thank you for coming on.
I'm sorry about this. All part of all this. My browser was blocked. I was forced to jump on on my cell phone to join the conversation here. But this is everything that's going on. What you said with Italy, with Obama, and the panic that's going on. Step away from it. Don't react to it, because all you're doing is giving them more power. We have a lot of people on this, a lot of patriots in on this.
Yeah.
Don't react. Be calm, everybody. You've got me and John. I am one hell of an investigator. I am on this, and I will not be sidetracked for what is right for our country.
That's right. God bless you, my friend. We'll have you back soon. Have a good afternoon, Chris.
All right. Thank you, sir.
God bless you. Folks, Chris has been fighting the Matsui family up there in Sacramento for quite a while. And look, we know Doris doesn't live in California. She lives in Maryland, just like Adam Schiff doesn't live in Los Angeles. I want to bring on to the show now my friend Ann Elizabeth. How you doing, Ann?
I'm good. How about you?
It's been a busy morning and day so far. I wanted to talk to you about today's subject matter. Excuse me. My throat is dry.
That's okay.
We started talking on the show today about, the question, who lied to you? And I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about Americans who have bought into this narrative by fake news that President Trump, his supporters are fascist, racist, white supremacist. People like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, Barack Obama, Biden, Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton, all they're doing is dividing us further. And since even before President Trump was sworn in, they started on this, with the Russia collusion, with the FISA abuse, with the criminality that we now have caught them with. So, look, my question to you is, and I know that when you and I spoke last night on the phone, you gave me an example of this, where, you've got a Trump flag out, your neighbor has a Biden-Harris sign, he's had it up for months, and then he tells you to take down your Trump flag. I'm going to give you the floor.
Well, first of all, John, thank you for having me on. It's really been very comforting to have you as a contact for this whole thing. I'm feeling censored in my own home, and I think that people are feeling very empowered right now because of all the censorship. Where people are totally blowing over the Constitution. This censorship, is not part of the Constitution, and these big companies that think that they are bigger than the president, these companies that are actually silencing the president of the United States, are overriding Congress, are overriding, they're overriding government by censoring our president, and it's totally an abuse of power on their side. But now you have all these empowered people thinking that's the right thing to do because the media has convinced them that this is okay. And so now you have people like my own neighbors. I had a Trump flag out, and they happened to be head of our HOA and sent a letter to take my flag down when they didn't send letters to people with Biden flags to take theirs down. They went to their door and knocked on it and said, "Can you take your flag down?" After I had finally removed mine. Then I found out that it's not actually in our CCRs and that they didn't have the right to do that. So, people are just feeling very empowered right now. I'm putting my Trump flag back out. There's no reason I can't have it. And not only that, but this is coming from a person who had a 10-foot by 4-foot banner hanging from their balcony that said Biden, Harris, truth over lies. Or was it truth over facts? I think it was truth over lies, but it should have been truth over facts because I remember Biden said that. Remember that one? But that's a very offensive slogan to people who support President Trump, because I don't feel like President Trump is a liar, and he's not. And so not only did they have a banner instead of a flag, but they had a message. Mine simply said Trump Pence 2020. It's from the official Trump store, and it was a very unoffensive flag that they found offensive. They actually tried to ban Trump flags only in the HOA. Of course, it was voted down. But sending me a letter to take down my Trump flag, and when it's not part of our bylaws, it hasn't been voted on by the HOA, is just a complete abuse of power. And so I will be running for the next HOA just because I'm going to do it.
Good for you, girl.
So.
Good for you. Let me ask you this question. Why do you think it's so important to Democrats and the radical left to label Trump, his supporters, anybody who doesn't agree with them, and they can be white, black, Hispanic, Asian, it doesn't matter. We've seen them call black Trump supporters racist, if you can believe that. So why do you think it's so important to them to label us that way?
Well, it's just it plays on emotion on their own side. I feel like they're inciting, their side to, or, they're rallying their side to believe a narrative. I mean, no one wants to be racist. No one wants to be a bigot. We all want acceptance, everybody on both sides of the party. And so when they do that, all they're doing is they're just rallying their side. It's just not true. We were at a Pacific Beach rally this weekend. If you watch the news, you could see that Antifa showed up throwing bottles, glass bottles. They came with shields. They came with baseball bats. They were there prepared to fight while we had a peaceful protest. They posted pictures of certain people on their website saying these are the people that we're looking for. They put the people's names. So they were there to hunt. And they kept saying that we were white nationalists, when I would say a good 60 to 70% of the crowd was, either Hispanic or black or Asian. And, it was a pretty diverse crowd that we had there. And meanwhile, we're being called white nationalists.
Right.
It's just the narrative is so ridiculous. I mean,
it's like they're looking at these people and they still come out with this narrative. Look, just like I said earlier in the show, again, the question, who lied to you? Was it CNN? Was it MSNBC? Was it the Washington Post? Was it the New York Times? Was it your neighbor? Was it your best friend? Who sold you on the bill of goods that President Trump and his supporters, no matter what color they are racist and fascist? Okay? Because it's all going to come out. The bottom line here is it was all a lie to divide us. That's what it was. And it's been going on for over 4 years now. And we're tired of it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lie. It's playing on emotion. But I would even go one step further, and I would say who brainwashed you, because I think that's more what's going on right now.
Yeah.
Is that people are completely unable to think for themselves at this moment, and you can't even argue with people. It's like it's so embedded in this chip in their brain that these news stations have convinced people of these lies. And even this whole thing with censorship, all of these people on Facebook are just posting, one post after the next, how it's so cool that they have banned Trump from Twitter, and they don't even realize the liberties that they're losing by doing that, or the fact that democracy is now dead. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is. Look, thanks for coming on today, Ann.
Thank you for having me.
Thrilled to have you, and obviously we're going to have you back. You're a friend of ours, and God bless you, sister.
God bless you too. I love coming on your show. Thank you for having me, and I'm always happy to come on. So thanks, John.
Yeah, thank you. God bless you.
God bless you.
Look, folks, we've discussed this today at length. There's a lot of going on. I hear that President Trump is going to be doing a live news conference here within the hour. So I'm going to be going to watch that. But before we go, I just want to say that we have evil everywhere. It's out there. If you don't believe that there's evil out there, you need to take a long, good look in the mirror. And I just want to end the show today by saying, dear Lord, please pray for our president in this most crucial time. I want to pray for all the warriors like Brother Leon Benjamin and Ann Elizabeth and Mark Cook and Brother Trevor Loudon and Brother John Schneider and Maria Zack and Chris Bish and everybody who's out there. You all know who you are. You know who's out there fighting. Dear Lord, I pray for them, protect them, keep them safe from harm, from these evil people that want to do them ill will. And we just pray for the president that you will guide him and give him strength in this, what is an hour of prayer, but more importantly, not only just an hour of prayer, but an hour of deliverance, dear Lord, that only you can provide through your hand, your mighty hand. Dear Lord, we just pray to you in the matchless name of Jesus and by the blood of Christ. Amen. Thank you for joining us today on Indivisible. We'll be back soon. Like I said, we have an amazing investigation that we're working on. That's probably the biggest story in the history of this country, maybe the world. It's certainly the biggest story I've ever seen. And it definitely connects to Maria's. It runs parallel, and also with Patrick Berge. I don't know if you saw Shadowgate, but our investigation runs parallel with Shadowgate as well. And believe me, if you only knew, and I'm sure that a lot of people do know the level of corruption that we're talking about here, but a lot of people don't, and a lot of people think that it's just a bunch of, hoopla and a bunch of nonsense or stuff that only the right is making up. No, folks, this is not a partisan issue. There are Republicans and Democrats that are guilty of many crimes, including high treason, piracy, corruption at the highest level. And it's sickening because these people are just sucking our tax dollars dry, and they're doing and accomplishing nothing in Washington. And the American people have had it. Thanks for joining us today on Indivisible. We'll see you next time. God bless you, America.